Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm gonna talk about primitive data types, and then I'm gonna give you actually some examples about using primitive data types in your Java programs. Okay, so first we need to create a Java project. So as you know, we just need to click on this file, new, and then click on Java project. Okay, and for the project name, just type in here primitive data types. Okay, and for the project location, I choose the default location as you can see here, and then click on finish. Okay, so as you can see here, my project is now created. Okay, now we need a class for our project. So just right click on this src folder and then new, and then click on class, or you can click on this src folder or click on this primitive data types project and then click on file, new, and then click on class. Okay, so for the class name, just type in here primitive data type. Okay, and for the package, as I said before, you need a reverse domain name. So just type in here our reverse domain name, com.morteza, and at the end you need to put in the project name. Okay, primitive data types. Okay, and for the modifiers, choose public, and here check this checkbox that says public static void main method. Okay, this is going to be our starting point for running our codes. Okay, this is our main method, and then click on finish. So as you can see here, our class is created and we are ready to go. Okay, so first let me actually make this editor area wider. Okay, so double click on this primitive data type.java tab. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some descriptions about primitive data types. So first I create a multi-line comment here. Okay, and now I paste some text here, and then I let you know what's going on here. Okay, so primitive data types are actually built-in parts of the language, which makes them easier to create and use. The first primitive data type that I'm going to explain about is byte. Okay, so byte is an 8 bits integer, as you can see here, and the minimum value that it can hold is this number minus 128, and the maximum value that it can hold is 127. Okay, the next data type is short, as you can see here. This is a 16 bits integer. Okay, and the minimum value that this data type can hold is this value, and the maximum value that this data type can hold is this value. Okay, in other words, it can hold a value between these two numbers. The next one is int, which you are already familiar with. This is a 32 bits integer, and the minimum value that this data type can hold is this value, and the maximum value that this data type can hold is this value. Okay, it can hold a value between these two numbers. Okay, and the next one is long. This is a 64 bits integer, and the minimum value that this data type can hold is this value, and the maximum value that this data type can hold is this value. Okay, it can hold a value between these two numbers. Okay, the next primitive data type is float, as you can see here. Okay, float data type is a single precision 32 bits floating point. Okay, and the minimum value that this data type can hold is this value, as you can see here. Okay, and this e here means exponent. Okay, exponent minus 45. Okay, and the maximum value that this data type can hold is this number. Okay, and again, this e here means exponent, and it says exponent 38. Okay, so floating point numbers are numbers with a decimal point. Okay, and the next primitive data type is double. As you can see here, double data type is a double precision 64 bits floating point. Okay, and the minimum value that this data type can hold is this number, and the maximum value that this data type can hold is this number, okay? And this E here means exponent, okay? And double data type can be used for more precise numbers, okay? So double data type is like float data type, okay? And the next one is char or char. I prefer to call it char. Char data type is a single 16-bit Unicode character, and it is used for individual characters such as letters, numbers, punctuation, and other symbols, okay? The next one is Boolean, which you are already familiar with. It can hold either true or false, okay? And we've got constants, another type of variables. If the value should never change during a program's runtime, okay, you can use a type of variable called a constant, okay? And to declare a constant, use the final keyword before the variable declaration and include an initial value for that variable, okay? So now I'm going to give you some real examples to make these primitive data types more clear for you. Okay, now as you can see here, the first primitive data type is byte, okay? So first we need to type in here byte as our data type, okay? This is our data type, and we need to give it a name, number, value, okay? This is our variable name, and as you can see, I assigned the value 20 to my variable. So now I'm gonna output this value to the console, okay? System.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I just need to put in the name of the variable, okay? Number, value, and then at the end, I just need to put in the semicolon. Now, as you can see, the data type of my variable is byte. So now I want to assign the value 200 to my variable. It's now showing me an error. Type mismatch, cannot convert from int to byte, okay? So as I said earlier in this tutorial, the minimum value that this byte can hold is -128, and the maximum is 127, okay? So this byte data type cannot hold a value greater than 127, okay? So I changed this value to 20, and if I run my project now, as you can see, it now outputs the value of this variable to the console, okay? The next primitive data type is short, okay? So first we need to type in the data type short, as you can see here, and I'm gonna actually give this variable a name, volume, okay? And then I assign a value to this variable, okay? As you can see here. So now I want to actually output the value of this variable to the console, system.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I just need to put in the name of the variable, okay, volume, okay, and then at the end, I need to put in the semicolon. And as you can see here, first, I want to actually comment out this line of code here, and if I run my project now, it's gonna output the value of this volume variable to the console. Now I want to assign a very large value to this variable. So as you can see here, it's now showing me an error, okay? So it says cannot convert from int to short, okay? As I said earlier, this short data type can only hold a value between these two numbers, okay? So it cannot hold this very large value, okay? So I need to change this value. The next primitive data type is int, which you are already familiar with. The name of the variable is score, and I'm gonna actually assign a value to this variable, okay? And then at the end, I just need to put in a semicolon. And here I want to actually output the value of this variable to the console. So system.out.println, and then inside the parentheses, I just need to refer to the name of the variable, okay? And now let me actually comment out this line of code here. And then if I run my project now, as you can see, it's gonna output the value of this variable to the console, okay? So here I want to actually, again, assign a very large value to my variable. So as you can see, it says this value is out of range, okay? So as I said earlier, the int data type can only hold a value between these two numbers, okay? We cannot actually assign a value greater than the maximum, value that this data type can hold. Okay,